In the same way, but now it's a bit important because we're going to use it from now on. So, well, these three, let's remove this component because we're not going to use this. But let's add a component of a plane manager. And here again, in the hierarchy, there's a default plane. And let's bring into the prefab, and we can add AL default plane to AL plane manager. And now you see the detection mode is everything. Is well, if you click this one, you will see it can detect horizontal and vertical. So it's up to your AL. It's up to your purpose. If you don't want to detect vertical, you only can just pick the horizontal. Well, but for now it's fine. I'm going to just detect everything, and then that's it. Save it, build settings, player settings, and change name to plane, and save. And it's going to build some a app, which is why this opening. And and then the result is going to, I mean, it's exactly same idea with the point cloud, but now it's going to generate the plane like this. So it reads the plane. Well, I mean, it's not that accurate, so that's why there is some like error about that over there. But in general, yeah, it also detect my desk, and you see the height is difference by seeing the thickness of the boundary. So we're going to use this point. I mean this AL plane. Now let's do a bit of scripting. Why this is keep open? Okay. Anyway, yeah, we're going to use it. So let's let's do the scripting a bit. But before that, here go to the AL session origin, and let's add one more component, which is AL Raycast Manager. Remember that we use the AR Raycast to locate some uh, object, right? And now we're going to do it exactly same thing, but by using the AR and by your finger rather than mouse clicking. So let's go to the script and let's create the script AR Raycast. And here, first let's create the another game object, AR Raycast. Set this one. Let's attach AR Raycast script to AR Raycasting object. Let's open this script. So here, I mean, the idea itself is exactly same as the our previous Raycasting idea itself is exactly same, but we're using a bit different syntax. And first of all, we need to use a bit different, a bit more different namespace, which is using Unity engine dot XL of AR foundation, and also using Echo, using Unity Engine, Excel, AR subsystems. These two namespaces what we need to use. So here, public AR Raycast manager. This is what we're going to use. So here, I'm going to just say that Raycast manager. And again, we need the object which we need to place. So here, public game object, uh, object to place. And here we need public camera is playtest. Well, AR camera. It's fine. AR camera. And here is a bit different thing from the raycasting is under the AR raycast, we need to have uh, some private reach. So usual normal raycast doesn't need a wrist to place a bit different object, multiple object, but the ALA case, it needs to have the list to lead the data of the locations, data of the heat. So here, list of AL latest heat, and going to call this one to heat. And this, because this is a new list, so we're going to say new list AL get heat. And here, we don't need the start. So I'm gonna use this one as well. Under the update void, what we need is if remember that do you remember that the we use kind of this the physics lake case these kind of things. So here, before we well, we can say that the first if there is some input, it's going to read as some data, right? So if get mouse button. I mean, sounds a bit weird, but the like when you click your the screen, it's exactly same as clicking mouse button. So I mean, of course, there's another way to handling this by using touch. But the for now we just stick. We're going to use just get mouse button because it's simpler and easier. So inside of the if, so when you click somewhere, we need a ray, and ray is latest, no, AR, AR camera. And I forgot to tell you, the script is always case sensitive, and so you need to take care about the your case letters and small letters. And the reason why I just changed to these small letters is usually you don't use capital letters to your object, and usually you use a capital object, capital letters, the naming of the void, and I just made a mistake about that. So the lay is going to use AI camera, and the exactly same, the screen point array, and it's going to get the position of mouse, which is your finger in this case, and the if, I mean, basically every idea is the same. So if physics is raycast, oops, no, this is a bit different. Uh, confused. If and this one, raycast manager, we're going to use if raycast manager is going to use the raycast function by using ray, and it it's a bit different from this, right? So when it's we use the physics laycast and layout heat to get the position, but this time we get the rather than we use the raycast heat, we use the restop AR raycast heat. So we're using this AR lay comma heat and trackable type. This is a different thing about the AR raycast. So it's going to find the which part is going to casting, I mean ray casting. So now we only want to cast on the plane, right? So I'm going to select the planes, and if do this, and okay, I need one more blanket. And a different thing of the raycast AR raycast is we need use pod. Pod is just the data of location and rotations. So that's by using this, we're going to get the location of the new object. And again, we're going to create 5-bit game object, same as before. New object. We're going to use this new object equal to, it's going to instantiate our object to place to position of the position of pose and position of sorry rotation of pose. So like I said, pose already include data of position and rotation in AL situation. So this is what we need. And let's save this one. Let's save this one and then save the scene as well. Again, go to build settings. And well, I'm not going to do this part because anyway, I already saved it and to reduce time, to reduce the building time. So the result is our recordings here. So it's going to find the plane, and when I click on the plane, it's going to create the all the well, I just created the cylinders, and yeah, I just figured that. But if I run this, build this, it's not going to working because we didn't attach anything over here. So uh, here it says Raycast Manager, so it needs to have the game object which include AI Raycast Manager, which is AI Session Origin now, right? So we're going to attach this one to here, and the AR camera, which is this, and the object to place. And in my case, I wanted to use just cylinder to use a bit different idea from the just cube and sphere. So here I created. cylinder. Again, one is 1 meter, so not too big. And yeah, if you just click this one, it's going to generate the cylinder in the middle of the position because the everything when I say it, it's going to generate. How can I say it? In the position of this. So to avoid that one, we're going to create empty object and we're going to transform to 0, comma 0, comma 0. And I'll say this one to spawn cylinder. And I'm going to put this cylinder to under the spawn cylinder. And let's give them some material. I'll just give them just green. Let's make it a bit better green. I'm just kind of fan. I'm kind of fan of this kind of pastel color. So, and then what we need to do is just bring this one to. Let's move this need to up, move it up. And so now if you see the location of the cylinder, it is 0, comma 0 0.2, comma 0. But if you check the spawn cylinder, which is parent of this cylinder, it is still 0, comma 0, comma 0. And what we need to do is just make this spawn cylinder to prefab rather than just cylinder. So, so by doing this, it's going to generate I mean, this is going to generate exactly this location. So just put this cylinder to your object to place. And then this is exactly, we're going to be same result as this. So as if you see these recordings, it generated on top of the planes. So it's rather than generating some kind of middle location, yeah, it's generated above the planes by changing the location, something like that. And you can see here, like every time when I click it, it generated new cylinders. So, but sometimes we'd like to just move around only one object, right? We don't want to do this. So, want to if you want to do it, here is just all we need to do is just add a couple of lines. So rather than just instantiating every time, we're going to use some if condition. So if you didn't put anything, so because anyway, at the first time, you need to instantiate our object, right? So I'm going to just save these lines. And okay. By the way, I think you already noticed, but I mean, to flash means just commenting out. So which means this green line is not going to be read by our computer. So the system cannot recognize these lines by putting just these two slashes. So yeah, if there is nothing, so at the first time, it's going to instantiate a new object. But if there is if new object is something, we're just going to change the location of the new object. So, uh, rather than just using the position, we also can do the position equal to new position. Uh, we can do just like this, and then again, the transform the location is pose that location, but there is also another functions which is set position and rotation. So we can use this in the transform. Well, I just wanted to show different options of the syntax. So position, but here again we need the same. Just so it's going to just set the position and rotation of this transform, which is new object here. And if I save it, and so now what it's doing is it's going to generate instantiate new object the first time because there is no new object. And then once it instantiate, it just keeping change the location and rotation, position and rotation. So just save that. We don't need to do anything about this because we're going to use the cylinder, and the result of that is this. After it detect the planes, first of all, it instantiate, and then every time I click the other location, the other position, the cylinder is changing the position. So the position of the rotation is changing by clicking the location. And then maybe I mean you will figure out like you cannot add you cannot attach above the cylinder even though you're clicking it the it always just generate above the plane not on the cylinder. Remember that do you remember that our lake cast could generate could generate on another cube above the cube, but the AI raycast cannot do it. So how to do it is actually that we can just add our original raycast idea to here. So here, so I'm going to use create another game object, which is uh, object on object, and it's going to almost same idea with this. So we're going to just copy and paste of our raycasting. So public layer mask, this is what we need as well. So since it is public, it's better to kind of, grouping. Yeah. Then what we need is we need a raycast heat because we don't have this one for now. So here, raycast heat, and let's copy all of these things for now here. But this time we put the if get mouse in button outside of the raycast, so we don't need this if state. We don't need, and the is we're not going to instantiating grid object. We're going to instantiate this object on object, and it's not going to be the new object because we're already using the new object to here. Well, I'm just going to just use the instantiate, and we don't need this here. Mm, all right. Or yeah, actually, it's true that I forgot to explain this one. Actually, easier another way to do this. I mean, to check the point is actually you could do this. I forgot to explain this. Okay, in the raycast, so it's going to change. It's because the point already has a data of the vector three. So you also can do this as well. And then I think yeah. So By doing, result of this is going to generate the of a cube. The object on the other object. But however, for example, where is it? Our yeah, you remember this drawing, which is ugly drawing, but so imagine this is just AR plane, and if there is a cylinder like this, and if you click here, for example, and your lake cast is going this way, and this one is going to hit your cylinder and also your plane as well in the same time, right? So uh, in this script, it's going to hit both. So uh, it means when we just run this script, it's going to next turn, in the next turn, it's going to generate another cylinder here and I don't know, another in here, like this object as well. These two is going to be generate in same time by just clicking once. So we want to avoid it. So if it hits the cylinder, we just want to spawn the object onto the cylinder. And then just in case when it hits only well, it's not going to do, it's only hit the ground and it's going to create cylinder. So how to do it is just simple. Because we use the if, so it's going to check in both case. But we just add else. Now it's going to check if it hits the cylinder first, and then if it hits the cylinder, it's fine, and then it's going to generate something on the cylinder. It's not going to check this. But if it doesn't hit to the cylinder, now it's going to check if it hits the plane or not. So now it's going to generate the cylinder on top of the cylinder. The plane. So just save this one, and what we need to do is go to the AR raycasting object here. We need to add some some small object to here, which is I can use some sphere, for example, but again, it has to be small one because this is meter, and just bring it to the prefab and just attach this to here. Then you need to check your mask. The layer, sorry. The sphere can be this color. I'm not going to add another layer for now. So here, if you just check column, and all it, the sphere can generate above the cylinder, which is column. Well, and then to do doing that, we also need to change cylinder to columns. And yeah, now it's done. And save it. If you build this, I'm just going to show the result. After detect the plane, you can generate the cylinders. And then if you just click onto the cylinder, the sphere is going to attach the cylinder. And then of course, your yeah, sphere is the same layer, so you can generate above the sphere as well. And of course, you can see it's a three-dimensional things. So if you see from the side, it's generated AR object like this, three-dimensional object. So okay, let's see. Okay,